Hey guys, welcome back to the Snapring Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. Today we're looking at a Bonney, and this is the Bonney 7T-702K. But before we jump into it, if you enjoy these videos and find them helpful in any way, could you give me a like? And also subscribe to this channel. As some of you might know, I'm kind of running like a goal where I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by around New Year's. And I know it's kind of ambitious, but hey, it's my goal. If you guys can help me out in any way by subscribing, I would really appreciate it. Okay, we have this US made Bonney. And this is the 3/8 model. It's a roundhead ratchet. And here's a look at the ratchet. It has a knurled handle. This knurling is kind of okay. It's not very aggressive, but it's not flat either. It's pretty consistent, so I guess that's pretty good. All around from top to bottom, it's pretty consistent, so I think that's pretty good. But like I said, not the most aggressive knurling. Kind of a thin handle too here. There is a little flare from the shaft here to the handle, but not a lot. And there is a taper from the top of the head down to the shaft, and where it flares into the handle slightly there, a slight flare. Okay, one thing about this ratchet, I know Bonney's a good, it's a well-regarded company. We have a lot of Bonney fans out there, and they have put out some pretty interesting ratchets throughout their run. This is more of kind of like a regular roundhead. There's nothing kind of special, like any special mechanisms or features in this, but we're gonna get into that when we open this up. But the first thing that I noticed is that the tolerance here is not the greatest. You see how much movement there is in and out from the mechanism. That let me just get a point there. You see here, there's a lot of room there, so I can close it and then it opens up. So there's a lot of in and out in the mechanism, and it's not because of the snap ring, because the snap ring only goes up to a point here. You see the snap ring here, and then you have all this slack underneath the snap ring, with this side fully against the head of the ratchet. So you see all this slack here. So the snap ring can only go up to here. It can't take up all this slack here. I guess what you would need is a washer, or this washer here, or this part of the mechanism to be thicker, to take up some of that space in there. You can see there's a good amount of space, and the lateral side to side too, there's a good amount of play there. So let's open it up and see what we see inside. Has the usual core ring that goes around. Here's that ring, and it just slides out. Take a look at the head here and the teeth. Pretty coarse. Let's say maybe like 30 something teeth, 32 maybe. The walls of the ratchet head, they're pretty thick. I give them that. They are not not too thin. They look pretty decent. Here are the teeth. The teeth look okay. They don't seem like anything special. I mean, it looks like just your regular broaching. There's no this is broached straight through. There's no cutouts or anything on either side, so it's just flat. These sides are just flat. But those are your teeth. This ratchet might have been abused a little bit. I can see some hammer or some striking marks here. And yeah, on that side. Which leads me to my next examination, is the mechanism. And the good thing about this particular ratchet is that this is a double pawl mechanism. You see the pawls here, there's 2 of them, and there are 3 teeth per side on the pawls. The pawls have 3 teeth, and the pawls are pretty thick. They're not like little thin pawls, so they're pretty thick pawls. You can see there. Why I say this was kind of maybe abused a little bit is that you can see there's a good amount of wear on the pawl and the teeth on the edges here. You see they're pretty chewed up a little bit here in sections. This one's not bad, not too bad going that way. And see here, there's a bit of chewed up pawl, and that one doesn't seem too bad. But yeah, seems like it's been banged around a little bit. Still working, still engaging. I put some pressure. I put this in a vise and put some pressure on it. I didn't really crank down on it, but it held. It didn't skip. So, you know, maybe it's just a little bit of cosmetic damage there. To take these apart, what I do is I take the pawls that are sticking up on either side. I press them both down simultaneously, and then I get the plungers underneath these posts here. So each plunger is sticking underneath there, and you can see it peeking out there when I turn it a little bit, the hole for the plunger. So I put it all the way underneath there, and now I put a nail between the gap of the switch and that black colored ring, just to open it up a little bit, little by little on each side. I'll wiggle it a little bit, and remember that there's a spring and 2 plungers, so it's going to be under tension, so when they come out they might fly out. So I try to cover as best I can with my fingers, and there it pops out. Here's the switch, and these are the plungers. Another thing about this ratchet is that there's nothing to keep the sides from going all the way around or going over. So you see the damage. Let me zoom in a little bit. You see the damage on the plungers on the side there, how they're like cuts on the sides of the plungers. On the other one, you see also the cuts on the side, and that's from the sides, from the insides here. Say from these get a good look. Maybe not. From these sides here, when they go from, you switch back and forth, the plungers rest against those sharp edges, and they dent or imprint the plungers. See, on this side also, on that side. And what happens sometimes is that when you switch, the plunger will get stuck on the side, on that sharp edge. The plunger will get stuck down, like when the pawl is getting pressure in the head, and it's kind of like, you know, it has that spring tension. The tension is going to get caught, this plunger is going to get caught on that sharp edge, and it won't give the proper tension to the pawl, and the pawl might stick down instead of sticking up under the plunger, because the plunger is being held on that edge. The pawls won't spring up all the way, and you see that in a lot of ratchets, a lot of round heads, that they have switches where there's not something that there's not a cutout or anything to where you can only go so far in the mechanism without just going round and round. Yeah. See, you put the switch in and it just goes round and round. There's nothing on some mechanisms. There's like a cutout in the switch itself, or something in the housing that won't let it go all the way to the edge, to where the only thing stopping it from going around is the plungers, and that's how they get marked up like that. And sometimes they don't function that well, and the pawls don't function that well. And let me just get something real quick here. And here are the posts for, you know what, I'm gonna get a napkin, because these are kind of, these parts are kind of oily. And here's the pawl. What the pawl looks like. Like I said, three teeth per side. There's chamfering on the hole, so that's good. That's the underneath. So just a regular looking pawl. And this is what I'm talking about. These sharp edges here, that's where the plungers are resting against those sharp edges, and sometimes they indent those plungers and keep them from fully popping up to engage the pawl, and make sure that the pawl is sticking up to engage the teeth. So in some ratchets, after a while, that becomes a problem. Okay, to get this back together, you just take your pawl, put it back in, line up the pawl with the hole, stick your pin back in. Now, here's your two plungers with a spring in the middle. And that goes in the hole here for the switch. Here's the switch. The switch has got like a long kind of switching handle there, which seems okay. Seems pretty good. And you put that like that. And now I'm gonna take a needle nose and press those pawls in. I mean those detents, plungers, and now like that, you stick it in, and it should click in, and then you see if it's, whoops, you see if it's ratcheting. I mean, if it's switching. Looks like it's switching pretty good. Now you just take it, and I usually put the switch with whatever the letters are facing up, especially in this design. I guess you can go either way because it's just flat, there's no cutout, so it's pretty, I would say it's either side will work. And you take your ring, you open it up, you get it around the edge, and you mash it down, and there you go. And you make sure it's working. Let me zoom back in. Okay, so that's the teardown of the Bonney T-702K USA Ratchet. It seems pretty heavy duty. Is not the most elegant ratchet. Like the insides don't look that elegant. Looks pretty regular, but it looks pretty strong. Those two pawls are pretty wide, and there's two of them engaging, so I would think that this is a pretty strong ratchet. The main problem here, I think, for me, is this very loose tolerance mechanism to head here. You can see how it's pretty a lot of looseness there. That's the major problem I see in this ratchet. I don't know if any of you guys have this ratchet or have one. Let me know if you have that problem also. If it's you have that looseness up there like that. All right. Okay, guys. Until next time.